Welcome to today's explainer. You know, when you hear the word management, it's super easy to just picture this dry, dusty checklist of admin tasks. But honestly, that is completely the wrong way to look at it. Today, we're unpacking a summary of the functions of management, and I really want you to reframe how you see this whole topic. Management isn't a checklist, it's a dynamic, continuous engine that literally drives business success. It's how a tiny idea transforms into a massive, thriving enterprise. If you've ever wondered how the most successful businesses out there maintain order, scale up, and keep their teams fired up, well, it all comes down to the management cycle. Let's get into it.
To help us keep all the moving parts of this engine straight, there's this fantastic mental hook coined by Luther Gulick. It's called POSCORB, P-O-S-D-C-O-R-B. It stands for planning, organizing, staffing, directing, coordination, reporting, and budgeting. Now, a quick caveat here. While reporting and budgeting are absolutely crucial, nowadays they're generally rolled up under the umbrella function of controlling. So for our explainer today, we're really going to hone in on the 6 primary functions that bring order to organizational chaos and make up the core cycle of management.
Okay, here is our roadmap. We're going to follow the logical, chronological journey of building and running a successful team. We start with the foundation in planning, then move to structuring through organizing and staffing, providing leadership through directing, creating harmony via coordinating, and finally ensuring our results with controlling.
So, starting at step 1, the foundation, which is planning.
Before a single dollar is spent or a single employee is hired, we have to know where we're going. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is a definition from Coons and O'Donnell. They say planning is deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who is to do it. It's brilliantly simple, right? But it's also profound. Planning is literally just deciding in advance. It bridges that massive gap between where we currently are and where we actually want to be. Without it, the things we want to happen, well, they just won't occur. It's an intellectual process, really, anticipating the future through logical thinking.
So why is this absolutely crucial? Well, obviously, planning sets clear objectives and a path of action. But beyond just handing out a map, it actively improves employee performance because everyone knows exactly what they're working toward. It also minimizes future risks. Now, you can't eliminate uncertainty entirely, no way, but you can anticipate it and set up preventative measures. And finally, it leads to the optimum utilization of resources. To put that into everyday terms, it makes sure you're getting the absolute most bang for your buck out of your time, your money, and your materials. You avoid wasting stuff by deciding how to use it before you actually need it.
All right, phase 2, structuring, organizing, and staffing.
We have our plan. The blueprint is drawn, so we need to build the actual machine. First up is organizing. Theo Heyman defines it as the process of defining and grouping activities and establishing authority relationships. Think of organizing like setting the framework of a house. You're grouping tasks together so administration and daily operations flow smoothly, without 2 people accidentally doing the exact same job. It's all about deciding which departments handle which tasks and, crucially, who reports to whom.
Getting this structure right is incredibly important. Proper organizing facilitates both administration and the day-to-day operations. It clarifies authority and responsibility, meaning every manager and every employee knows exactly what's on their plate. And here's a really fascinating byproduct. A well-defined structure actually creates a profound sense of security for employees. When roles are crystal clear, people feel mentally satisfied and confident in their work environment.
Okay, the framework is built, but an empty house doesn't do much. Enter staffing. The absolute core, unbreakable principle here is placing the right person at the right job with the right pay. Staffing isn't just a fancy word for hiring, it's the whole shebang. It covers everything from attracting and selecting candidates to placing, appraising, paying, developing, and, importantly, retaining the very best workforce you can find.
So the crucial point to take away from this is that staffing manages human resources, not just material or financial ones. A qualified, efficient workforce is literally the ultimate asset of any organization. Good staffing improves overall efficiency through continuous training, and it creates deep job satisfaction through fair pay. Plus, by making sure promotions are strictly merit-based, it maintains harmony in the workplace. Getting this right, it's do or die for the long-term survival of the organization.
Right. So at this point, we really need to pause and ask a critical question. You've got the brilliant plan. You have a rock-solid structure. You've hired the perfect team. Now, how do you actually make them move? How do you transition from building the machine to getting it out on the road and executing the work?
That brings us to section 3,
Leadership, or directing the team.
If planning is the brain and organizing is the skeleton, directing is the spark that ignites the engine. Ernest Dale describes it as dictating the procedures and policies for accomplishing performance standards. A lot of management philosophers actually call direction the life spark of an enterprise. It's a continuous, top-down process that happens every single day the organization exists. It's you instructing, guiding, communicating with, and inspiring your employees to actually hit those goals we set way back in the planning phase.
Directing is totally where the rubber meets the road. It initiates action. Without it, your brilliant plan is really just an expensive piece of paper sitting in a shared Google Drive somewhere. The manager acts as a director, integrating everyone's efforts through great communication and persuasive leadership. It's also a massive motivator. A good leader explores individual capabilities and helps employees realize their full potential. And on top of all that, strong direction provides stability, helping the team pivot and cope when the business environment inevitably changes.
But what happens when everyone is moving, but they're not moving to the same beat? That brings us to Section 4, Harmony, or coordinating efforts.
This is kind of the hidden force that binds everything together. Mooney and Rayleigh define coordination as the orderly arrangement of group efforts to provide unity of action. Think of it like this. While directing gets people moving, coordinating makes sure they don't crash into each other. It's synchronizing all those different activities, functions, and employees to ensure a smooth, unified flow toward the finish line.
And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between the two. Think of an orchestra. You can be a great individual director, giving instructions one-on-one, but if you don't act as a conductor to coordinate the whole enterprise, your teams will just end up playing over one another. Directing is about the individual or the specific team, instructing and motivating them to act. Coordinating takes all those individual actions across the entire company and synchronizes them into one unified, harmonious whole.
Look, organizations are made of people, so conflicts are basically inevitable. Coordinating minimizes those disputes and really encourages a healthy team spirit. Crucially, it improves relations between dependent departments. The source material has a perfect example of this. The sales department's targets depend entirely on what the production department actually outputs. And production? Well, they depend on the purchasing department buying raw materials on time. Coordinating ensures those handoffs are totally seamless, which means higher efficiency, less waste, and ultimately hitting your organizational goals.
Which brings us to the fifth and final section, assurance, or controlling the results.
Our engine is running, the parts are synchronized, but we have to check the dashboard to make absolutely sure we're driving to the right destination. Philip Kotler defines control as the process of taking steps to bring actual results and desired results closer together. Now, I want to be really clear here. Controlling isn't about micromanaging every single move your employees make. Not at all. It's an objective, indispensable function of measuring actual performance against the standards we originally laid out in the planning phase.
Let's move to the next part and see how this builds a continuous loop of improvement. Controlling is a very step-by-step process. Step 1, you set the standards. What does success actually look like? Step 2, you measure the performance. Step 3, you compare the two and find deviations. Basically, where did we fall short or maybe even overperform? Step 4, you analyze the root causes of those deviations. And finally, Step 5, you take corrective action. And the beauty of this? That corrective action feeds straight back into your future planning, and the whole management cycle starts over again.
To pull all these threads together, take a look at this summary table. This is the entire management cycle in one holistic view. You plan to set the goals, you organize to bring together the resources, you staff to get the right people, you direct to inspire those people into action, you coordinate to make sure their efforts are harmonious, and you control to guarantee those original objectives are actually achieved. Every single function is linked, and every single one relies entirely on the others.
Which brings us to the end of today's explainer, and I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Think about a business, a project, or even just a study group you're part of right now. If it's struggling to reach its goals, it isn't just generally failing. One of these specific functions is broken. Are you lacking a plan? Is the structure disorganized? Do you have the wrong staff? Is leadership failing to direct? Is there a lack of coordination? Or are you simply failing to measure and control the results? Once you figure out which of the 6 gears is slipping, you'll know exactly how to fix the machine. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the core functions of management, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.